What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Legion Season 1, Episode 7, Chapter 7. I'm I'm just really disappointed that it's got to leave next week. There are so few shows that I actually feel like it needs longer. It needs more episodes. Most shows, even my all-time favorite show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that, even all those seasons, they feel like they came in and they left right when they needed to. There's never a feeling of, oh, I wish there were a couple more episodes. Oh, I want to see more of this. Honestly, most of the time it's just like they're telling a story and I'm ready to see the story end. This one feels like there's so much more they can do with this. I'm just so sad that it's got to end next week, and I'll be sorry to see it go. Hopefully, second season will come around soon, and it won't take it'll probably take like a year before it comes back, but maybe, hopefully, it'll only take a year. I don't want it to take longer for sure. But anyway, we pick up pretty much where we left off last episode with a little bit more insight. We find out how Carrie ended up inside of that scuba diver suit. He's talking to Oliver after he followed him to his little ice palace, and he's explaining what's going on with the monster, with the room being frozen in time, and with David trapped inside of this little mental coffin type thing. And so he explains all that, and so he gives him the suit so he can go wake up Sid and explain to her what's going on, but she already kind of has figured everything out because she's incredibly smart. And so now Sid goes through, she helps the other Carrie with her debacle. And so pretty much it all is just kind of leading to this one long section of the show. I don't even know how long it was, and honestly I wish I could go back and look right now just to see how long it was, because it was probably a bit longer than I remember, because this whole scene where it's all done in music, and it's got like these little dialogue boxes popping up like those old time films, where they speak and then it pops up what they're saying. That entire section was just so brilliantly done. Like it reminds me of that scene where everything was done completely silent for a little bit. Just that scene really sticks out to me as like, wow, that was really well done. This is the same way. It's just like, that's really well done. I really enjoyed that. There's so much about it, and it's another one of those episodes where I feel like I'm gonna miss something. I feel like I'm gonna miss something talking about it. So let me just hit on some of the main points that I really liked. So one of the biggest things I think that I really enjoyed was getting to see Danny. I'm sorry, I've been watching Iron Fist. Danny, David, so similar names. David talking to himself. He's like figuring all of this stuff out with his own mind, and it's kind of funny because I think I'm pretty sure I saw this actor before in like an interview. I'm pretty sure he's British, and so it's just funny because he's now his other self is now talking in a British accent, which is probably his own accent, and so it's just funny to see him communicating with himself and figuring all of this stuff out. And I don't know, just the way they illustrated it, he's figuring this out. He's figuring out about his parents, about this monster that's been plaguing him. Found out his name is Farouk. And so just that entire scene, some of the jokes is, why are you British? Well, I'm the rational side of your mind. Well, I'm the rational side of your mind. I'm just like, you cheeky Brit. But that scene, and then of course he's there's one of the things that I heard coming into this show is that his father was actually Professor Xavier. And so there's this scene where like he defeats the monster, and his father in the drawing defeats the monster, and he comes back in and he starts talking like Patrick Stewart does as Professor Xavier. Like, honey, I'm home, and I'm ready to have some nookie, something along those lines. It was really funny. But just all of that, him figuring everything out, him realizing what's been going on, and us too kind of realizing at this point. Like as soon as we realized that the monster found him when he was a baby and possessed him as a baby, and all of a sudden I started realizing, so that's why it's so powerful right now. It's been growing along with David's powers. Like that's how it keeps getting so much stronger. And it's just a brilliant illustration of what's been going on. So that scene stuck out to me. Another scene that kind of interested me, but I wasn't really sure what to think of it, was the scene where Lenny, Farouk as Lenny, was talking to Amy. She was talking about the dad or something like that, or I can't really remember what she was asking about, but it was something to do with the father and trying to get this information about where he is or something like that. I know ultimately, I'm pretty sure the goal of Farouk right now is to try to kill David's father, because that's ultimately why it attached itself to David in the first place, is to be able to get to his father. So, I'm kind of interested to see like what it's trying to figure out, if it's actually trying to figure out where his father is, or if it's trying to figure out something else in general. But yeah, I don't know. That kind of stuck out to me as like they're inside of this big globe type thing, and I'm just like, what is this? What exactly is going on? It was kind of mysterious. But another scene that part of a bigger scene in truth is we see there's this moment where Melanie, she's going through the room. This is after Oliver's already showed up and is talking with Carrie about what to do to save the people in there. Um, she heads out of the room, and all of a sudden she notices this blood. Like, I don't know why. Like, it seems like time was going backwards for a second, even though it was actually going forwards. Anyway, but this blood is like going up, and it's like falling down from the ceiling. So she heads up and she sees the other guy that was there with him, one of the mutants. Still don't know what his power was aside from metal bending. Slash, it looked like he could bend rocks as well. But we see him stabbed upstairs, and so he's bleeding out. And she whispers something in his ear. I'm like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, it shows like him in the hospital. I'm like, holy crap, that was him. It was the guy that was drooling, and I'm just like, oh, that's why he's drooling. And they show the blood dripping off his mouth. I'm like, God, I totally missed that. That's clever. And so ultimately, that whisper like tells him, gives him enough strength, I think, at the very end to save Lenny and Sid, not Lenny, Carrie and Sid whenever they're being attacked by Lenny. So it was just kind of nice to see how that all sort of tied in together and wrapped up. But I mean, let's talk about that scene, because a lot of interesting stuff going on. First of all, we see Oliver has some sort of ability to, I don't know, it looked like he was directing words in front of the bullets to protect them. Like, I don't really know what exactly he was doing, but he's just sitting there waving his hands like a director as all of these letters start appearing, and they start flying in front of Sid and David as the bullets are slowly heading their way. And then, of course, Melanie and Carrie are watching on as all this is going on. But then Lenny knows something's up. She realizes, oh, people are not behaving in my hospital. So we see Sid has gotten Carrie, and she also got that other guy in the wheelchair. And she's, like, getting them out. Well, all of a sudden, here comes, I think his name is Walter. We didn't really ever, I think they said Walter was his name. The guy with the milky eye. He comes out of nowhere and just tackles Carrie to the ground, knocks her glasses off, so now she sees all of the monsters again. And so now she's fighting them while he comes out of nowhere, smacks the crap out of her, knocks her down, and is just choking her out. Well, Lenny hears all of this and goes to stop them. And so Sid's fighting him. He's choking out Carrie, and then Lenny's just like, well, time to go interrupt this. She goes down there, and then in the word boxes, she's like, thanks, but you're not needed any longer. And all of a sudden just like starts doing this stuff with her hands, and you just see his body start contracting and like going in on itself. I'm like, oh. Ooh, that's tasty. That's tasty right there. But yeah, she just crushes him into oblivion. And then on top of that, we see all of a sudden we go to the real world, and he's still sitting there as the guy with the machine gun, but then all of a sudden he becomes himself, and his forehead just caves in and blood starts gushing out. And I'm like, oh, 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 Mario protect me. Oh gosh, oh. I mean, I'm not really that queasy when it comes to that type of stuff, but I was like, wow, that's a brutal way to go. Like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, okay. So anyway, Lenny just kills him off, so he's no longer a problem. So then you know, she sees that Oliver is trying to protect them from being shot. She's like, oh, 1 second. Goes into the room, knocks him aside, which takes away the barrier he's creating, and all of a sudden he disappears. Don't really know why that is. So now the barrier's gone, which means the bullets are flying right at them again, and there's nothing that they can do. Well, then Carrie all of a sudden pulls out his device, which I'm curious to see why he was able to move that when they couldn't move anything else. Maybe it's because I don't know. I don't really know why. Like that's the only thing that is still confusing me after all of this. It's like why they couldn't move the people, they couldn't move the bullets out of the way, but somehow Carrie can grab his little halo thing and move that around. But whatever the case, he takes it, puts it on Sid's head so it wakes her up, puts it on I guess everybody else's head so he starts waking everybody up, and then finally puts it on David's head. Well, David last second moves Sid out of the way, and then all of a sudden you just see the bullets fly and you see him holds out his hand and there's the bullets. I'm just like, you little trickster, you. I knew they weren't going to kill him off because, well, there's one episode left and it would just be an anticlimactic way for it all to end. Oh, David dies, which means so does the monster. I think. Maybe. Probably not, but it would just be way too easy. But we do see that because of this little halo thing, it protects him from the monster. And so he's actually able to use his powers without Farouk interfering at all. And so he takes them all back to the school. And so now everybody's there. They're all happy. They're all together. And all of a sudden we see Oliver is not in the suit. And she's like, well, where did he go? Well, he's somehow back alive. Somehow. Maybe they'll explain it. Same thing with the whole why can you move the halo thing, but not anybody else with the bullets. I hope they explain why Oliver is all of a sudden just out of the suit and back here in the real world. For whatever reason, he is. So everybody's just enjoying themselves, and they realize this isn't over yet. They still got to try to get rid of this thing. The halo that David has on is not going to hold it back for long. And that's exemplified when he starts walking. All of a sudden he looks over and boom, angriest boy in the world. She's like, oh, well, that was scary. And it shows that this is not over yet. So they're heading outside, and then all of a sudden here comes Division 3, just surrounds them. Bunch of gunmen. It's like, oh, well, that sucks. So, yeah, now Division 3 is there, and they got him surrounded with guns. Don't really know where this is going, but then all of a sudden the guy that was interrogating David at the beginning of this season, he just walks up and he's just like, third-degree burns, yeah, thanks for that. And I'm just like, wait, you survived that? Are you serious? Like, the room exploded, and you survived? Come on. But somehow he's alive, and I guess the final episode is going to be mainly about them talking to... From the previews, it showed him, like... I can't wait to see this scene in action, but it showed him like just using his powers to fling all of the henchmen into like this tall looking tree type thing. I'm just like, I can't wait to see that. But it looks like it is mainly going to be about David pretty much showing down. Showdown. That's the word I'm looking for. It's way too late. 12 o'clock, midnight. It's not actually that late for me. Anyway, but it's probably going to be a lot of a showdown between David and Farouk because we see at the end, Lenny slash Farouk slash the angriest boy in the world, they're all trapped inside the box that David was trapped in. And so they're just like pounding, trying to get out. And then finally you just see crack. And you see Lenny looking through it like, it's just like, oh no, they're escaping. So probably going to be one of those things where they're trying to get to the lab to sort of analyze the situation and keep this under control, but because Division 3 interferes and sort of causes them to wait too long, it's going to be one of those things where Farouk now has the ability to break through the halo and something along those lines. But I don't know. It's a great setup for the final episode. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. I'm not excited to see it go. I want it to stick around a bit longer, but this episode, all in all, really, really good. Really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun, as always, and I can't wait to see how it ends. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? What do you want to see in the final episode? Let me know. We can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for the final Legion review this season. I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.